This list here is actually, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to a good friend of mine named Marc George, who's actually up in Maryland. For those who are up there, he owns a nutrition shop, Total Athlete Nutrition. We've done some partnerships over the years, and we've come up with a really cool introductory package, if you will, that he can actually ship out to you. If you're local, you can get there yourself and he'll help you out. But let's talk about what these are that come in our intro pack. So I'm going to go through this real quick and then we'll talk about each one. But when you're starting out, if you have pen and pad, you're looking for essential amino acids, EAAs. You're looking for a whey isolate protein. We also want a multivitamin, fish oil or flaxseed oil. We'll talk about those. Potassium, magnesium, turmeric, D3, and vitamin C. Now, the reason that we look at these and the reason we try these, again, this is just beginner. There is, we could do a whole episode on just that because there's a lot of different stuff that you can take nowadays. My main recommendation for taking things is because a lot of the food that we have does not come with what's on that nutrition label. Meaning, unfortunately, it'll say it has a certain amount of vitamin D, a certain amount of vitamin C, this and that, this and that. Unfortunately, the FDA, it doesn't regulate necessarily everything that's on the package. So even just recently, they just recently cleared the necessity for having the country of origin printed on the actual package. So that means we don't necessarily know 100% everything that's in that quality product. So when we're looking at essential amino acids, many of us can get those from our meats and from some of the foods that we take in. However, when you are really sweating, when you're really training, when you're really working hard, some of us may know that we need to take in some electrolytes to help us recover. Essential amino acids are going to essentially make sure that all your optimal levels are tip-top shape. So that way, when it comes to not only your recovery, but your performance in exercise as well, you can get the most out of the muscle at that moment in time. Now, with your whey isolate, it's, and I'm going to take these off. With your whey isolate, it's so important to make sure that we go with the whey isolate because it's going to give you 90% protein, meaning you're going to have less lactose in there. You're going to have less fat. In other words, you're getting directly what it is you need, like very specifically. So when you go to the large chain stores and you're not going to a specific nutrition shop, they may not even have the option. If they do have the option, you really want to make sure that you choose the isolate instead of just the regular concentrate, because even if you go ahead and take it yourself, look at the ingredients, you'll see a massive difference. So pay attention to that there. Remember, all this is helping build protein, build muscle, and ultimately help that protein synthesis, which is when your body converts that protein into what it needs to rebuild the muscle. Next is your multivitamin. And I like taking multivitamins because it does help with the convenience factor. So one of the ones that we recommend is Project AD. I'm not going to do a ton of different supplement companies in this here because we do have that information for you if you need it. So just, of course, let me know. But multivitamins are great because, again, convenience is going to have a lot of different stuff packed in there. The only issue when you get the all-in-one products is many times because they're trying to pack so many different things into that vitamin, you'll get like a slightly underdosed version of each one. So that's why we look at making sure we're getting, I don't want to say it an expensive brand, but we want to make sure that somebody actually put the time into hiring the scientists, making sure everything was put together properly so that it is an effective supplement. So really look around when it comes to those supplements. Again, we recommend Project AD. It's multivitamin plus. Of course, Mark, my buddy, has it. You can also find it online. But again, we won't go into too much when it comes to the actual product. Next is the fish oil. So for those who are in a situation where like you're not looking, you're doing vegan or vegetarian, you can also do flaxseed oil. You're going to get your omegas from there. So your omega-6s, your omega-9s, and your omega-3s, depending on where and how good your diet is, you may actually already be getting those supplements in your diet. So it's really good to see what it is you're eating and what is in the food. But again, remember how not everything is honest when it comes to the packages. So making sure that you have that supplement, especially if you're training on a regular basis, is just going to be so good for inflammation is probably the biggest benefit that you can get when it comes from taking your fish oil or your flaxseed oils. I remember all growing up, my father would pour it onto that spoon and drink it down. I can't even imagine that. I mean, some of you have probably taken some cheaper fish oils out there and you can smell your burps coming up and it's rough. It's not what you, so imagine trying to take it down teaspoon at a time, tablespoon at a time. We've moved on from that. This was quite some time ago. You can, there's a lot of different supplement companies out there. A lot of people will say the Alaskan salmon it doesn't give you as much of a burping feeling and smell when you're burping. Again, it's really going after the higher quality products to make sure that you're getting a quality product. So fish oil is huge for inflammation. Now that we're in inflammation, that's why I like to add these next three: potassium, magnesium, and turmeric. Really good for muscle soreness, muscle cramping, and rebuilding the muscles post-workout, especially if you went hard a certain day. Now, turmeric, you may have heard of that as a seasoning. Some people in certain cultures will use a ton of it. Just putting it on your broccoli or your chicken is not going to be enough. So when the supplements actually have it, they have a specific amount in there, but sometimes you can actually get a supplement that has a black pepper additive. I've also heard of people using avocado oils and such to also help with absorption. That's what the black pepper does. It helps you absorb that turmeric a little bit better. I've even seen turmeric rubs, magnesium spreads that you can put on your joints and on specific muscles. Now in our world now, there's a ton of CBD creams out there that are really good for helping release pain and tension. So all of that's kind of in the same area. So your flaxseed oil, fish oil, your magnesium, potassium, and turmeric are just so good when it comes to helping heal the muscle, as well as soreness and cramps. Next on the list is D3. And people, there's not really that big of a difference when you either hear vitamin D, D2, D3. D3 is just specifically what comes from the sun. Regardless, we need vitamin D in our system. We need to make sure that that's in the diet somehow. Even if you're not getting a ton of sunlight, even if you are getting a ton of sunlight, that doesn't necessarily mean you're getting everything that you need. You may not even have that much skin exposed. And then also at a certain point in time, you do have to think about skin cancer and too much exposure. So pay attention to that. D3 is just a really good supplement to help take, which is going to pair really well with vitamin C as antioxidants and helping you keep that immune system nice and strong. So of course, vitamin C is that last one there. Now, this is just a beginner product. This is just a beginner set. This is not necessarily what you have to take. You know, I'm not writing you a nutrition plan in any way, shape, or form, but these are the specifics when it comes to the basics, something that would be really beneficial if you're starting out your workout routine or if you've never taken any type of supplements before. Again, you can go straight to, it's Marc George, Total Athlete Nutrition up in Maryland. And of course, I'm down here in Tampa, Florida. There are nutrition shops everywhere. And chances are the person behind the counter is going to love to explain to you what everything does and what it makes sense. But again, this basic list here is your EAAs or your essential amino acids, whey isolate, multivitamins, fish oil or flaxseed oil, potassium, magnesium, turmeric, D3, and vitamin C. Really good for getting into your system. If you're feeling sick in any way and you want to up your dosage on any of these here, I just also highly recommend taking a bunch of water, drinking a ton of water, just to help flush everything out of your system, especially if you're upping your vitamin C. You want to make sure that you're taking that in.